Good morning, my name is Carolyn Yoder. I'm with GlennArt Farm. We've been around since 2011. We've been an official farm since 2017. This is our 10th year anniversary. We are a very, very small dairy farm in the city of Chicago. We've been permitted by the state. Thank you, Frontera Farmer Foundation, who gave us the funds to develop our milking operation. So every year, in order to have milk, you have to have babies. So these are the babies for this year. We've got 8, 2 are in the barn or in the garage down over here, and they were just born this morning at 2 a.m. Our mission statement also says that we're here to restore community or help restore community and provide healthful foods. That is our purpose for being here, is that we're very cautious about every step we take. We're very courteous to our neighbors, and we try to stay clean. We work with a lot of community action, and we provide food distribution to the neighborhood twice a week. Can you believe it? Even in the middle of winter and 40 inches of snow, there were people here playing with goats. It's called a goat chill. So people come in and they do what I'm doing right now. They just hold a baby goat, which is usually pretty pleasant. So that's about 80% as agritourism. We developed that in about the last 2 years. COVID basically shut down all of our goat yoga. And we discovered that families or family pods were very happy to come out in groups to have an outdoor activity, especially parents of children who had to go online and in Zoom, so the kids have something real to come and play with or to be with. It's been very, very popular. But we could not really do this in any other part of the city except the west side. If you choose to have goats in the city, that means you have a lot of high maintenance. It means you have to have a plan to where you're going to put the manure, how are you going to milk, what are your neighbors going to say, do you have enough space? This is our winter field, or a winter side pen, and it's 22 by 35 feet. It's huge, and then we also have a garage to put them in. But beyond that, in the summer, we have 6 lots that we use to shift our animals from one place to another so that they have enough space to graze and to be happy goats. We usually produce around 14 gallons a week. We're very small. She just put out 2.5 pounds this morning, but she's just starting. And so by the time we have a high point about 6 weeks from now, and each goat is putting out around 1/2 gallon or more per day. We are permitted by the state. That's what Frontera Farmer Foundation provided us for. We have behind you, there's a milking room in the basement that has a separate freezer, a separate sink. It's the sanitation room. So we milk the goats and we take it down there and we process it and maintain standards. So we have to send out milk samples once a month once we start milking, and then we also do what we call fecal counts to check on their health to make sure everybody's in good shape. So there is no particular ordinance for goats. Our policy is to stay quiet, clean, and courteous to the neighbors and work very, very hard not to be a bother. But what we have discovered on the west side is we have a really good support from our aldermen, and sometimes you don't have support from your aldermen. So it's kind of always good to check in with the alderman. So this is a very large space. We put up hay bales. Hay is important. You have to find yourself a farmer because you can't have goats without hay. And then beyond that, they have to have fresh water, which is the buckets that you see here. And this space, if you take a look at it, is isolated from north winds. We have 1, 2, 3 walls. So the only time we get a really heavy wind is when it's straight south wind. So for goats, the big thing is the wind. They don't really do well in wind. This is actually their favorite temperature. 40 degrees is great. 50 is a little warm, 70, 80, 90, not pleasant. The average temperature of a goat is 103, and so they're very warm animals. In order to maintain their warmth, they have to eat a lot. So their stomachs is what keeps them warm. You might notice there's a lot of tables. And so this particular idea is that you change the furniture around so they have something to sit on, they have something to sleep on, they're just moving around and have a pleasant space. So this is our back area. It looks a little messy right now. After surviving 40 inches of snow, we're still cleaning up. You have to have a milk stand if you're going to have milk. You can see we have our specs still from December, our numbers as far as how much each goat puts out. So we give them grain and pellets and supplements all the time. We milk the goats outside, which is crazy because the weather is terrible sometimes. That's why we have large umbrellas. It's not for me, it's for the goat. In here is Big Mama. She was just had her babies this morning. She's like, who are you and why are you here? What is that thing? She was in labor all day yesterday. It was a real rough ride. I don't know what was going on. She just couldn't get them. This is her 5th. So I guess it was just hard. Usually it's about 4 hours. For her, it took her 12. So we started yesterday afternoon around 3 and 2 o'clock this morning. She finished. They're both boys and they're doing everything they're supposed to. They found the teat. So when you have babies, the first thing you're going to do is notice the 7 signs of labor, which she followed through 7 signs of labor. I have a form. If anybody needs the forms, I have these Google forms that you can use to give you checklists. Oh, look who just peed. Yay! Good job. Thank you. To get a visiting vet is almost impossible. I had one for 5 years, but he retired. So I'm suffering that right now as I'm looking around for someone who would make house visits. Very few veterinarians do, and small animal veterinarians are usually dogs and cats. Things get a little complicated, not with the birth, it's after the birth, getting set up. Are they doing the right thing? Are they growing? Is their stomachs developing? All of that kind of thing is kind of huge. You really need to keep an eye on making sure your animals have enough food, making sure the babies are getting the milk they need. So right now we're doing weights on all 8 of these babies every day, sometimes twice a day, to make sure that those weights are going up. So goat care is significant, as you can see. We talked about food. Now we're looking at cleanliness. So what we do is we have a cement floor, and you're not supposed to have goats sleep on cement floors. That's not good for them. So we cover it with cardboard. We pick it up and clean it right now twice a week. As it gets hotter, we clean it every day. You clean it with bicarbonate of soda, or if you feel like you really want to deodorize it, put in some vinegar, which is up here. It's our only major defense against disease or illness, is to maintain cleanliness. You have to have a goat poop plan. If you don't have a goat poop plan, you're going to have problems. So we call it manure management, and we sell it. We have organized a network of urban farmers who have gardens. Ernest Earth is one of them. Cornelius Flowers is another. They give us $125 a year, and they tell us, I want 100 bags of your poop. And so we put it in the truck and take it over when they ask. And it helps us. We also sell it to the neighbors at a very discounted cost. We give it away to the community garden down the street because they give us the land space. So it's cooperation type thing, but you have to have a manure management plan, or else you're in trouble. Feeders are really huge for goats. So we have these metal feeders which run around $30 each, And I would strongly suggest, as we saw outside, there's bag feeders, which are $11 each, and you can get a lot of hay in them. You just have to make sure you put them high so their heads don't get cut, which temporarily happens occasionally. Now we're going to take a look for 2 minutes about size. Every single goat, like her, should have 41 square feet per goat. And the reason why they have to have this large space is because they're mean to each other. And they need to carve out a space to be safe. So we put down the pallets so that they're not on the cold, and then we put on the tables so that they can go up and around. So each of these tables is 9 square feet extra. So because it's 3 by 3, and so they have another square footage to find space for. So that is kind of a huge process to just make sure food, water, and space are really, really essential to having good goat care.